And now Inclusion's been called upon. Centre's Gift has been headed by Baghdad, a length and a half into Inclusion, whose rider's gone for the whip, and on the outside Chrysler's Jewel, and a good gap to Evander. It's Baghdad, the lesser fancied of the Waterhouse horses, holding its stablemate Inclusion, followed by Centre's Gift. Baghdad still in front. They won't catch Baghdad. Baghdad beat Inclusion. Centre's Gift, and on the outside was Evander, followed home then by Chrysler's Jewel, Viva La Vie, Make Me a Miracle, and Space Age was last. Baghdad, number 4, $7.30 and $2. My Desert Style from Tudor Maid, the lesser fancied of the two Waterhouse horses, and the stablemate couldn't reach him. Inclusion, number 6. Baghdad, he's raced very well this time in. He's had the 3 plus 1, 2, 3, 4 runs back for 3 wins and a third. He's trained by Gay Waterhouse, and that's given Gay the program here. Hasner, Noble Spur, and now Baghdad. Now the third issue is tight. Centre's Gift and Evander. It looks like Centre's Gift has held on for third. He didn't show as much fight today as he did here on the 5th of October when he beat Stowaway. Here are the numbers. 4, 6, 7, 1.
Heat number 2, we have 3 farms.
Okay, Ian, the lesser fancied as mentioned, is giving her the first 3 races on the program. So.
Okay, we got the third here at Eagle Farm. The numbers are 1, 3, 4 and 5, and of course the 1 is pretty short. After his last start here, I think he should be too, and he looks as though he's probably the only pace.
You're a bit quicker, Brendan, but look, obviously you can't dismiss a horse like him. He is a classy runner. They're going to offer good value, but as he walks towards us now, he does look as if he's in pretty good shape.
Now, number 2's not in the yard yet. Number 3 is County Tyrone, the Queensland Derby winner.
Yeah, as he goes past me, looks, yeah, look, I just would have expected him to look a little bit better, in my opinion. He still looks a bit light, I reckon. Okay,
a nice loose walking horse. Eagle Rhythm brings good form to this after his Cranbourne Cup win.
Oh, and he looks a picture of health, and, you know, his performance at Cranbourne was outstanding. Greys can be tricky, but I guarantee you, he's glistening.
Okay, they don't call you Mr. Lofty, but will you be calling this horse the winner?
Well, I think you'll be looking at the winner for a long time. He's a picture of health. Hard, no surplus, run well.
Okay, these are the Group 3 Kunji handicap runners. From there we go to Sale of Century, second up.
Yes, second up. Looks as if he's just carrying a touch for him. I would have thought he might improve with this run.
Okay, the pumper is number 7, which is longer odds on course than what they're betting on the tote.
And his form's been absolutely woeful lately, and I can't understand why, because there's nothing, you know, wrong with him in terms of appearance.
Okay, we might jump back and look at the 2 because it's just arrived into the mounting yard, and that is Society Bow.
Well, as he comes forward, yeah, look, he looks nice. He buckled up the other day when he got caught in the stifle with Craig Newitt's whip, but I'd dismiss it. I guarantee he won't get hit there today. But no, he looks as if he hasn't taken any harm from that run, Brennan.
Importantly, the late scratching earlier is Zvezda, the Kiwi horse, after its hoof was pricked with a nail. From there we go to Burley, which is good value on the tote from John Hawke's stable.
Yeah, again, like he finished halfway through him in the Emirates Classic, and Fantastic won that particular race. Looks great, and he did cover a lot of ground that day.
Okay, from there, Little Miss Quick, huge odds on the tote.
Yeah, sometimes you can't work them out, but I believe this will run a cheeky race at odds. Ridiculous price.
Okay, and it's much shorter on course. McBeal?
McBeal, ignore its last run. Over on the inside, I've continually said, needs to go round runners. It's drawn out there today. It'll help it, I think. I'm going to give it one more chance.
Okay, there's one which is at almost 3 times the odds it is on the tote. Minster's Pride, number 12, $166 on the tote.
And with all due respect, Brendan, if you look at its form, you would have to say that's about its right price. Oh, look, I don't want to be too critical.
Okay, at this stage we're waiting for it to come into the yard. The 13 is Payston, right in the market, and value on the tote.
Yes, very good value, Payston. Always runs a nice race. Well weighted, well drawn.
Any chance the bottom 2, Readiness or Southern Crown?
Southern Crown's been disappointing lately after a pretty tough, arduous campaign. Still looks okay, but I'm going to dismiss him. And I'd say the bottom one, no.
Okay, that's our look through the runners. The Absolute Bolter at many hundreds to one on course is yet to arrive in the mounting yard. Whilst for punters on course.
No, I can't say it did. I thought he looked well. There was nothing wrong with him. He just wasn't striking in the yard, and to me, he might be better placed on a softer track than this. I was just listening to David Hall. Just mentioned the hard track. It's in the back of his mind there somewhere. Mr. Bureaucrat looked big and healthy, but he looked like maybe one more run for him. Society Bow looked very well. Eagle Rhythm, I thought he looked outstanding in the yard, and he'll be very hard to beat. Sale of Century, I mean, his form's very, very disappointing, but he does look well. And of the others, I thought Burley looked quite well. It comes out of the Hawks yard, they usually do. And McBeal looked pretty fit, and that's a McAvoy trained horse, and they usually look pretty good too. The other horse I thought looked very well, even though he may have peaked this campaign, is Southern Crown, but he did look shiny, bright and healthy in the yard.
I can tell you on course, Mr. Lofty has eased noticeably and is much shorter on the tote. There's been a bit of money at longer odds for Little Miss Quick. Kieran McAvoy, could today be his day aboard Eagle Rhythm?
Kieran, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's probably the only query. The other day they ran along in a 1200 and was probably off the bit 600 metres out, but today would need to probably settle a little bit better. Just the 14 tempo might not suit her, but if she does settle, she'll be running on very strong.
And you've got a great ride in the last in River Dove. Mate, have a great day and good luck.
Thank you.
There he is, Kieran McAvoy, and great book of rides again, and he's riding in sensational form.
And Alf...
Righto, Brendan, favourite here in an open race, Mr. Lofty. Pestum goes up into the gates, was withdrawn from the Maui Cup during the week for this. Going in there is County Tyrone, Queensland Derby winner, Jim Cassidy on board. Jim's won this race 3 times in the past, in the days when it was a lead up to the Caulfield Cup on Periscope and Eye of the Storm, and then in the first running on this day when he won it on Oliver Twist. I think the record is held by Roy Higgins with 4 wins in this race. Mr. Lofty's about to come up into the gates now. Luke Carey on board. I assume Vinnie Hall couldn't get down to the 53 kilos, which is bad luck for Vin, because Mr. Lofty's racing in the best form of his career right now. There's Society Bow going in. Damien Oliver on board today. And now Mr. Lofty comes up. They're 2 of the more favoured runners in the race. Society Bow coming off a good run in the Toorak. Eagle Rhythm goes up. So they're nearly ready. Burley to get set with McBeal and Sale of Century. Now here's Burley about to come in. So Mr. Lofty is the favoured runner. Wide betting race by the same tack, and Society Bow the best tried. Now McBeal is coming up, and Sale of Century, who's been a little while away from the winner's stall. He won the Guineas at Rose Hill in 2001, his last victory. Now they're set. This is the Coonji, and they're away. Society Bow looked a little slow over near the outside, and Mr. Lofty jumped fairly. Pestum, Southern Crown, first 2 to bounce out ahead of Burley, Readiness, Minster's Pride drifting back on the inside. There's Eagle Rhythm, the grey, sliding up round the outside of Mr. Lofty, and they're followed by the Pumper. Next is Little Miss Quick, a length and a half, County Tyrone, Society Bow, a length and a half, then Mr. Bureaucrat, followed by McBeal, and Sale of Century 2.5 lengths away. Pestum the leader from Southern Crown. Eagle Rhythm doing it hard at the 1400, caught 3 wide. Readiness in behind them on the inside of Burley, 2 lengths to Mr. Lofty in a good trailing spot. Over on his inside, Minster's Pride, a length to Little Miss Quick, and then came the Papa. About 3 lengths further back, Society Bow, County Tyrone, more than 2 lengths McBeal on the inside of Mr. Bureaucrat, and 3 lengths to Sale of Century. Eagle Rhythm strode round the field after being trapped out. He went to the front under McAvoy now. He'll no doubt just try and steady the ship a little bit. He leads by about a length and a half. Pestum second by the 1,000. Southern Crown is third the inside. Wonder Burley. There's Mr. Bureaucrat taking off round the outside, and they're followed by Readiness. A length and a half to Mr. Lofty. Minster's Pride the Pumper, and they're followed by Society Bow, taken out wide as they go by the 800 from County Tyrone, McBeal, and then came Mr. Bureaucrat back second or third last, and Sale of Century is back last of all as they went by the 600 metre mark, and the leader is Eagle Rhythm from Pestum, and Little Miss Quick it was who strode up third on the outside. Here comes Mr. Lofty round the outside with his run, followed by Southern Crown and Burley, and then Society Bow working home from the Pumper. McBeal McBeal and Mr. Bureaucrat. Eagle Rhythm led Pestham, and coming at them now, Little Miss Quicken. Mr. Lofty has them all in his sights. He's starting to come home hard, and the Society Bow's getting home down the outside, passing the 200. Mr. Lofty moved up to Eagle Rhythm and Pestham. Little Miss Quick fighting on. Society Bow. Mr. Lofty just put the head in front. 100 to go from Little Miss Quick. Then Society Bow. Mr. Lofty with the nose in front of Little Miss Quick. Mr. Lofty fighting win. Mr. Lofty beat Little Miss Quick and Society Bow. Southern Crown held on well on the inside. Then Pestham, Eagle Rhythm, Readiness, Burley and County Tyrone next out wide. A break further back then to McBeal, and then Sail of Century. The Papas finished well back again, followed by Minster's Pride and last Mr. Bureaucrat. Mr. Lofty has won. Tough effort. When it really got down to a staying contest in the last 150, he was the strong one. Little Miss Quick running the race of her life, sitting up on the pace for much of the journey. She's fought on tremendously well. And Society Bow third. Here are the numbers coming up. 5 the winner, Mr. Lofty, Luke Curry, David Hall. String.
Mr. Lofty, a heady ride by young Luke Curry.
A very, very tough effort from Mr. Lofty. He got to the leaders about halfway down the straight, kept grinding away and grinding away. They looked like they'd fight back. Little Miss Quick inside him there was fighting back hard. The horse that ran third behind them, Society Bow, if he went straight in the straight, he hung in all the way down the straight. If he'd gone straight, he probably would have got them both. But you have to race straight. That's part of racing. You've got to be tractable. And Mr. Lofty doing nothing wrong. He's not a pretty horse, but gee, he does the job well.
And the one there was some money for, Little Miss Quick, running a very good race. Here's the head on. Now, Mr. Bureaucrat tails out in yellow and black colours to almost last. So if we'll get a report on if there's anything amiss with the Star Weight for Age horse.
He did look a little big in the yard. He looked like he needed another run. He may have just got tired. He made a long sustained run around the outside and probably got the stitch fairly early.
He sure did. As you can see, he's at the very tail of the field there, being eased down by Adrian Mouse Robinson. But there's Mr. Lofty. Prominent markings, aren't they?
Oh, yes. He's not a pretty horse. He's got a big, plain head and those big, plain front legs. But I tell you what, he's got a good heart, good motor.
Sure has. We await full dividends to be confirmed. Fourth has gone the way of number 15, which is Southern Crown, running a very good race. So they've run about 8/10 of a second faster than what Platinum Scissors ran, the younger horses, in the previous race, the Norman Robinson. So they ran about 2:03.3 from memory.
Tell you what, Little Miss Quick was a very good run there because she had to bullock her way to the front very early, almost before the turn, and to battle on as well as she did. She's obviously got a good future as a stayer ahead of her.
Little Miss Quick, gutsy performance. And they've got home the last 600, 35.39, so that's the section there. Victoria Park, top rater here is the Forest. We check out the latest in betting details after Mr. Lofty's win in the Kunji.
Off and running. Mr. Lofty missed it about a half length towards the middle, and Southern Crown, Minster's Pride and Paced began quickly. Burley further out from Readiness. Mr. Lofty picks up ground from the outside, Eagle Rhythm. Further back then the Pumper, followed by County Tyrone, Little Miss Quick, Society Bow, Mr. Bureaucrat, McBeal and Sail of Century. At the 1600 metre mark, Paced on the outside. Here is Southern Crown, led a half length. A length of Burley, and Eagle Rhythm's out, working out 3 and 4 deep, but he's going forward, the grey up third. Burley now fourth in the middle, easing back, and Readiness the fence 2 to Mr. Lofty, a half Minster's Pride. A length further back, Little Miss Quick there, followed by the Pumper. 2 lengths further back then Society Bow from County Tyrone, a length and a half then to over on the outside Mr. Bureaucrat from McBeal, and 2 last of all Sail of Century. Eagle Rhythm was caught deep and he was committed to go to the front on the grey and over the top of the hill. Eagle Rhythm leads a length and 3/4 to 2 to Pacedham. A half further back Southern Crown third, 2 lengths further back then Burley fourth. On the outside of Readiness, followed by Little Miss Quick 3 deep. Mr. Lofty back in the middle running 7th. Minster's Pride the fence, a length and a half, the Pumper and Society Bow. 2 to County Tyrone, further back then McBeal. They're followed by Mr. Bureaucrat deep, and 2 last of all in the race is Sail of Century. At the 800 metre mark, and it's Eagle Rhythm, a half length in front of Pacedham. Little Miss Quick has gone up third, the outside, a length into Southern Crown fourth. Fifth is Burley. Mr. Lofty sixth and out, 3 deep, starting to move into it. Readiness on the fence, a length into Society Bow, going around the outside of the Pumper, a length and a half, Minster's Pride. County Tyrone, Mr. Bureaucrat, McBeal, and 4 Sail of Century. At the 500-metre mark, the sprint on here. Eagle Rhythm just from Payson, followed by Little Miss Quick. Mr. Lofty going up in the purple and green up on the outside, 4 deep. Southern Crown, Burley behind those. Then Society Bow, homeward bound. Eagle Rhythm from Payson when they flatten out. Further out is Little Miss Quick and Mr. Lofty picking up in the white face, coming down the outside. Then Southern Crown and Society Bow is running on fairly well. It's Mr. Lofty out deep and Society Bow getting to the front. Mr. Lofty just in front. Little Miss Quick fighting back. Mr. Lofty's got his head in front, nearing the line. Mr. Lofty, a short head, Little Miss Quick and Society Bow. Southern Crown behind those from County Tyrone out deep. Then Eagle Rhythm, Payson followed further back by Readiness, and further back in the race then, pulling up quickly is McBeal. Further back then Burley. A gap in the race then came Sale of Century, followed by the Pumper. Last couple home are Mr. Bureaucrat and Minster's Pride.
Winner 5, Mr. Lofty, the favourite. 4 even 190, Luke Curry, defeating the 10, Little Miss Quick at $6.30. Third will go to 2, Society Bow at $2.40.
Correct weight, Newcastle the previous. At the start, Gold Coast the third. Favourite, Raw Talent, 2 a win, 104 a place.
Long for them. Came at them quickly at the 300. You knew he'd keep going. And he got up to Little Miss Quick, who had to do a bit of work on the run. She's been a great run, Little Miss Quick. And Society Bow into third placing. Numbers are up. 5 is the winner. Second placing going to 10, Little Miss Quick, and third 2, Society Bow. 5, 10, 2 in the frame. 5, 10 and 2. Just a bit too strong, this big horse today. And that's win 7 from 13 runs, superbly placed by trainer David Hall. He's picking up these races as he rolls along. He won at Flemington. Before that, he was good at Ballarat. And he placed him perfectly in this race today in the time of 22.58. Vin Hall had been on the horse. Luke Curry took the ride today.
And 5, Mr. Lofty, 4 a win, 190 a place. 10, Little Miss Quick, 6.30. 2, Society Bow, 2.40. Quinella, 54.20. Exacta, 81.30. The trifecta, 5, 10 and 2. 416.50 and the first 4 to come.
Updating the third, Victoria Park, 1 Empress Waltz. The
370 and 170. 10, Little Miss Quick, 5.50. 2, Society Bow, $2. Quinella, 39.20. Trifecta, 331.20.
Race 6 today, the Melbourne Racing Club Stakes. Group 3, 1,400 metres, carries $125,000 in prize money. Here's the field.
1, Assertive Lad, Jim Cassidy. 2, Sports, Darren Beedman. 3, Bacada, Damien Oliver. 4, Fritz, Stephen Arnold. 5, Prince Rubiton, Nashra Willer. 6, El Nino, Greg Childs. 7, Flavour, Brett Preble. 9, Jay's Jump, Craig Newitt. 10, Salgado, Darren Gauci. 11, Ferrajaka, Kieran McAvoy. 12, Kennett, Craig Williams. 13, Al Bullbar, Reese McLeod. 14, Pomeroy, Glenn Boss. And 15, Tarcoola Midnight, Lonergan Millam.
There'll be an open betting race, I'm sure.
$1.60. Abolition tightens in, and that platinum class, the top rater, also well fancied in betting. Not too far away from runners being in the mounting yard for the next of our feature races here from Caulfield. 6th race is the Melbourne Racing Club Stakes at Group 3. Here's Randwick, race 4.
Very, very open race. Very wide market in this, the 4th of the afternoon. And on the totalisator, the favourite is number 1, Thunder On, 460, just in front of 2, Abolition, 470. But in the ring, the favourite is number 7, Mining Silver. Mining Silver favourite ahead of Mythological, number 8. The third pick is number 5. Actually, second picks jointly, Mythological and Abolition, the stablemate. And then we go to 4 Zulu, and just a sprinkle of money late for Thunder On, who's infinitely longer in on-track operations compared with the totalisator. Now, 4 Zulu coming forward, blinkers on today, and we're waiting for Abolition, who's been a little on the toey side from the moment he arrived at the barrier. Previous going to Baghdad, number 4 Rob Thompson beat the more fancied stablemate 6 Inclusion, 7 Third Centre's Gift, 1 4th Evander, Noble Spur the second, Hasna the first. So Gay Waterhouse has trained the program. She's got Thunder On in here. 1200 the journey, and they're all set ready to run. The Rose of Tralee handicap. Good activity. The horse horses. They're off this time. Abolition threw his head in the air. When the stalls opened, he didn't lose much ground. Thunder On and Force Zulu with Raiden Rule and Platinum Class all jumped well. 4 of them going for the lead from Stella Regale, Mining Silver, and then the stablemates Abolition and Mythological. They race their way down past the 850, and Force Zulu is the leader now. About a length and a half on Thunder On. Platinum Class the grey, and then Raiden Rule on his outside. 2.5 to Stella Regale, Mining Silver, Abolition, and last the fence is Mythological to the 600 in this order. And Force Zulu keen to race with his blinkers on today. He's a length and a half Thunder On. 2 to Platinum Class. A length and a half further away is Raiden Rule. Abolition gaining some headway, followed by Stella Regale. Next to last is Mythological, and Mining Silver's dropped out to last as they turn. And Force Zulu put 3 lengths Thunder On. Abolition's gone to second now. And then Platinum Class struggling from Stella Regale and Raiden Rule. Mythological a minute back with Mining Silver. Force Zulu is getting a little tired. Abolition and Stella Regale. Stella Regale's the one quickly reined them in, and Stella Regale put pay to Abolition, Raiden Rule and company, and Stella Regale wins easily from Abolition. Raiden Rule third. Mythological got warmed up when it was all over. And then over on the inside, Thunder On and company with Mining Silver. Force Zulu, we over raced with the blinkers and beat 1 to the post, and that was Platinum Class. Gee, Brent's having a wonderful run, Brent Stanley. Number 9, Stella Regale for Johnny Morris out of the former good mare Stella Cadante by Royal Academy, and Stella Regale, number 9, Brent Stanley and Johnny Morris combining. She only plugged home behind Planchet in the Brian Crowley last start, but down in class considerably today, and he was a little too good. Waiting on the numbers. Stella Regale has scored here in the time of 109.50. This track is on fire today. 109.50 is outside the class record.
Quick time though. Royal Academy out of Stella Cadente, bred well and truly in the purple. A couple of the fancied runners tailing off their hot, dry, windy conditions at Randwick. 109.5. Hot, dry and windy sounds like a northerly could be blowing up Andrew Bensley.
Yes, big way yesterday in Melbourne, the hot northerly. Not as much today, Fred Kersley, but hopefully it'll be hot after this race.
Well, the northerly's not as hot, but let's hope that northerly's on song.
Well, is he on song? Are you happy going into this Caulfield Cup?
Yes, look, he's come across here today. He's presented very well. He's not nerved up as he has been in the past, and that usually happens. The more runs he has, the better he settles at the track. So, I'm happy at this point in time.
You've mentioned the weight all week since you decided, 58. If you look at previous winners, Ming Dynasty was the last with 58, but there was a few handy horses going back that won the races with 62 and such when the fields were, similar. 58, you only got 2K more than what he gave you last year.
Yes, certainly, but you're going back 22 years to find a winner that carried a similar weight. In modern day racing, it's a bit different. The depth in the field is there. It's not his 58, it's the 52s the others have got that are going to hurt him. And look, I just hope he has a good opportunity, interference-free run, and if he gets beaten, well, we won't have any excuses.
How would you relate a Caulfield Cup win to a Cox Plate win?
Different, as good.
And what about a 2,400 metres?
2,400 metres, that is not a daunting task for me at the moment. I mean, I may have to review that statement later on, but I have a lot of confidence in his ability to run the 2,400.
And as we wrap it up, have you got one that you reckon is going to be hard to beat?
No, I can't single out one. I think collectively the field's the danger. I think I wouldn't be surprised. I'm actually expecting some unusual tactics early in the race. I think wide runners will go forward and clap on a bit of speed. So I really don't... I don't feel confident of trying to analyse the race to the extent that I can sort one out that's particularly hard to beat.
All right. Good luck, Fred.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Fred Kersley joining us. Interesting to note there, Brendan, just with Fred's comments just in regard to tactics. That first 400 metres, it might be on.
Very true. As Alf Matthews reported in his opening piece today, it's all about tactics, this race.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Sandmason from a wide gate coming across and leading, because I think he's been struggling racing back in the field, and this may just be a change of tactics to surprise people. And of course, the stable's got a couple of runners in the race.
Okay, well, speaking of tactics, Larry Olsen, what tactics have you unearthed?
Was never in the race at Flemington at his last start. It was a bit of a shifty track, that, so I guess you can overlook that. He's drawn the inside barrier, 58.5 kilos, Jay Cassidy in the saddle. He needs to improve.
He does. He is a quality horse, and he has Jim Cassidy in the saddle. Sports is number 2, an 8-year-old Marvel who won the Liston 3 runs back.
What a marvellous horse he's been. He's won a decent race virtually every preparation. Look, he didn't run much good in the same race that Assertive Lad ran in at Flemington, and he would have to lift on that effort too. But that was a tricky track that day, so it's a bit hard to read that. Look, he's such a tough old campaigner.
If he gets a wide run, he normally does better when he's not cluttered up. Number 3, Barcada.
Well, he's a Group 1 winner at this distance, loves the Caulfield track. And I'll tell you, if he can produce that sort of form, he'll be right in it today. Look, he ran terribly in the same race as those other two did at Flemington. So if we've got to forgive them, you've got to forgive him as well.
OK, Barcada and Fritz not in the mounting yard yet. Prince Rubiton is number 5. And in on-course betting, it is the on-course favourite.
Well, last start winner. I mean, it was a 4-year-old up handicap that he won. But look, he can be a little bit enigmatic. He's hard to tip at times, but look, if he puts his best foot forward, anything could happen. He's drawn a very nice alley. I like inside alleys, I've got to say, at the 1400 at Caulfield.
El Nino, number 6, is a horse undefeated at this track.
Yeah, once again, a track specialist. The Flemington run wasn't bad. It was only beaten 3.7 lengths, so that wasn't too far away. He races, he's in pretty good racing form. Barrier 3, Greg Childs, he could win.
Flavour has won a stakes race every year of his whole life. He's a 9-year-old. He will not know himself with just 53.5 on his back.
They're betting him. He's got a pension card, Flavour, but he's never raced his stablemate Sports. That was an interesting stat, and I thought they'd have run into each other somewhere along the line. Look, he's not in good form. He's an old horse. It's been a while since he really produced anything. Back in April was the last time he produced any sort of form, so I'm prepared to let him go.
So that means he can win?
Probably.
Lethal Lee not running. Number 9, Jai's Jump. This is from the Bill Mitchell yard.
Yeah, Jai's Jump, another horse that's not in great form at the moment. He won back in March at Rosehill. That was his last win, but look, on his recent form, I just can't have him.
OK, Salgado from the Hawks team has been well tried on course, has been the best move thus far.
And that's interesting because he hasn't shown much form either, but his last run at Randwick was a 9th to Zabara. It was a pretty strong race, that. But he has drawn an outside gate. It's surprising there's been a move for him.
OK, the 11 not in the yard yet. The other main one in betting is Kennett, number 12, which is another one of the Bill Mitchell runners.
Well, he was a horse with a huge rap on him early in his career. He only ran 4th at Cranbourne behind one of ours, Grand Falls, who we've got a bit of an opinion of. And before that, he ran 7th to another one of ours, Lewinsky. But I'd have to lift to win this. Barrier 11. I'll let him go.
OK, been too good. On course goes. Barcada has come in. Also in for support is Fritz, which has been well tried. That's our look thanks to the team at Emirates Park Stud. To Eagle Farm for race 4. Back here with late mail shortly.
Almost like a cross between the two, but he's wearing the wings. Did look well, so if you backed him, you can be confident. Prince Rubiton looked his usual splendid self. El Nino looked well. Flavour looked heavy, but he always does. Salgado had a nice gloss on his coat, I thought. And down in the weights, Kennett is a beautiful-looking horse.
He's a good-looking horse.
Number 12.
OK, well, one you mentioned there that is a very good-looking horse is Prince Rubiton, Andrew Bensley.
Yeah, he's got a very, very good record here at Caulfield, Brian Mayfield Smith, and coming off that good win at Flemington.
Yeah, we've just got to ride him for luck again, and I mean, whether that happens or not, only time will tell. But to get the 1400, he needs to be ridden back a bit and just wait for a break, and so we'll do that and see what happens.
Rubitano, you told us, got galloped on at his last run. Has he come through that OK to run today?
Yeah, very well. Yeah.
Has he missed any work or anything?
No, he's in as good a shape as he's ever been.
OK, you've got a couple of other ones in there as well. Reactive in Storming By first up in the last. Help us with those two.
Yeah, they're sort of handy mares. They're in strong races. They're probably each way chances. I mean, if they run a place, I'll be pretty happy.
And you're pretty happy to tip Northerly in the Cup, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I tip him on the basis that I reckon he's the best horse. He's virtually a champion. But, I mean, if he's looking for one for a bit of value down in the weights, I'd go for Republic Lass.
Guy Walder's horse. Good luck to you, Brian.
Thanks, mate.
Hope we haven't put the moz on you either, too. There's a few superstitious people here at the track today, Brendan.
Are you superstitious, Andrew?
In no way am I superstitious.
Andrew Bensley there. Now, on course, the favourite is Prince Rubiton. It has come in for late support. It's the clear-cut elect, Salgado, the well-tried second favourite. Back to see how they go in 4 from now.
Graham Rogerson wants you to join the winning way. It's coming.